2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Teaching Crypto on a Friday afternoon. This is AZcrypto and MrFOMO. We've got a major Voyager update, and we've got some Bitcoin information leading up to what we think is going to be an explosive couple of months in the fall. Not quite yet, but we're getting closer. So, MrFOMO, first of all, on Voyager, and this is important because our viewers have been asking for an update, and there are some things we need to talk about today. There's some stuff we need to share, and this came from one of our viewers. Now, MrFOMO, me and you are not aware because we did take our crypto out, but some people have been waiting all this time and still have not gotten their initial distribution, very sadly, even though we're headed towards, middle of September here. Finally, this is one of our viewers. Thank goodness he's not talking to us right now, but we'll continue to try to get a hold of him next week for the show. But they finally contacted some of the customers and said, hey, the money's coming your way. So at least I wish they had gotten it earlier than mid-September, but at least it's something here. So that means they're making progress. They are definitely slow. Remember how long distributions of the withdrawals took? It's slow, but at least it's something. At least it's happening. And then I'm going to talk about some next steps that I've learned about as well. But what is your reaction to taking this long for people to get their checks? Not even this long. They haven't gotten them quite yet, but for this long, just for them to get the communication that the checks are coming.
We complain a lot about the school system because we're in education. This is slower than it takes the school system to react to things. If somebody needed to get paid in the school system, they would get paid faster than this. This is unacceptable. There are people collecting a healthy salary from the wind down who are responsible for getting these things done, and they're not getting these things done. Again, this is consistent. They are still the problem. I don't know what the recourse is or what we can do, but these poor people have been waiting far too long for their initial distribution. There is no reason for that. The only thing that I can think of is that someone was hanging on to that in bulk, right? In the aggregate, you have all those different accounts holding all that different money. You have it in one, and you have it in an interest-bearing account. How much interest did they earn off of that while they were waiting to dish it out? It just seems really shady. Like they were just trying to find another way to use that money before they dished it out, and it just doesn't. It doesn't add up as to why it took that long. It's disappointing again.
Yeah, definitely disappointing. I hope if you are watching the show, you get your money, and it's money. It's not crypto anymore. No one's getting any crypto back. And I think that's important to reiterate because there's still confusion. You are not going to be able to get on. The app's gone, but you're not going to be able to get on the website, which they need to update, by the way, and give out information and take out any crypto. Those days are long gone. So now it's just about checks, right? And so these checks hopefully show up sooner rather than later. Hopefully in the next 7 to 10 days, everyone I really hope gets their check. If not, we will try to, keep communicating. Left some voicemails, and I'll keep trying. We had some good communication over the summer, but that seems like ages ago now, unfortunately. What it seems like to me, MrFOMO, is once they got some people back their crypto, they feel like they're above having to answer to us. And it's just not the case because, as we're going to talk about in just a couple minutes, there's a lot of important things that are just about to hit in this case.
Yeah, and it just lets you know that nobody involved wants to be accountable at the end, right? Like nobody wants you to have their number. Nobody wants you to have their contact. Nobody wants you to be able to email them. They don't want to hear from us anymore. And that's too bad because there's a lot, like you said, there's still a lot of things to happen with this case, especially the 445 million that's still hung up with FTX right now. And so you were going to talk about that mediation. Go ahead with that.
Well, here's the thing. We have started mediation. Now, you may or may not know, mediation is going to take 30 days. However, we are not going to get an update while mediation is happening. We do know it started. Once the 30 days are up, at that point, if it does not work, and we have to be prepared for the worst, and that's definitely a possibility, I expect them then to announce that it has not worked and that there will be a court date in 2024. And so when that court date is, I don't know. You're not talking about, months and months away, sadly. And from when I was able to talk to them over the summer, they made it sound like that is going to be a lot of their resources if they are going to go to court. They were putting a lot of their eggs in mediation. If that didn't work, then court obviously would be the next step. Meanwhile, going after third parties, I want to just say this, guys, as we've now well over a year after this is over, going on 14 months. If it's going to happen, it would have probably happened by now. The idea that they're going to do mediation, then they're going to do a court trial through most of 2024, then they're going to come back at the end of 24 and go about these third parties seems like a pipe dream to me. Oh, and then, don't forget about Three Arrows. Sometime, maybe when your grandchildren, Mr. FOMO, are old enough to drive, just maybe then the Three Arrows will be will be solved.
Are you kidding?
I mean, but what I'm saying is Three Arrows.
They're having a hard enough time cutting paper checks, and you think that they're going to go after these people after they're done with all of this other stuff? It's not going to happen.
I mean, I don't want to laugh because it's painful, because a lot of people's money, including ours, are stuck that belong to us. But yeah, there's wind down money, there's FTX money, there's supposedly this money that they're going to go after people. And it's just,
you can kiss that wind down money goodbye. Somebody's going to be living in the Caribbean off that money.
Well, I hope you're wrong, but I'm not optimistic right now. I really do hope listen, I'm just going to be real with all of you. I don't expect mediation to work. I hope I'm wrong on this one. Way more. I mean, I was wrong about Bitcoin, but this is so much more important, right? Because Bitcoin obviously is important to the industry long term, but in terms of like the here and now, being wrong on mediation, and imagine next week we get a positive email saying mediation has worked. Here's when the checks are coming through in October, right before Halloween. You're shaking your head. I hope.
Let's say mediation works. In the next 30 days, they figure it out. We're getting a check. That check's not coming for another 3 months. It's not coming until after the holidays. And so when they figure it out in October, if they figure it out through mediation and they get it done, somehow, I guess they have somebody handwriting the checks out. Somehow they're going to get those checks out before the holidays. Not a chance. They've got to give that guy time to shake out the cramps in his arm before you get started on another 100 checks. It's never going to happen. They've taken too long with the initial distribution. If they are successful in mediation and we're getting money back from that, January at the earliest.
Okay. I mean, you would hope if mediation works in September, by November, which is over a month away, send some of those checks out. But, you're probably being more realistic, to be honest. And so here's the deal. And if you are not one of the people that is expecting checks back as initial distribution, I just don't know that you're going to get it before 2024. Again, the good news is at least we'll have an answer on mediation in early October. So from what I can tell, it started. And so before October 7th, Mr. FOMO, we'll at least know. Now, whether we get a court date or not, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to keep all my fingers. I'm going to keep all my...
Mr. Slim, we will probably get an initial distribution before my next Litecoin segment. But thank you for tuning in, though. The next Litecoin segment's not coming till spring, by the way, which will be a great time to buy Litecoin. And I'm being dead serious about that.
That chat completely threw me off what I was saying. But yeah, I don't have any faith in the Voyager process. And I think that, we're talking about the initial distribution in crypto happened, June? And so that's a long time from then until now. And there are people that still don't have their initial distribution checks. And so that it's just not.
Remember, they had to do all the transfers first before they liquidated. And
that one guy that does all those things, he's a busy guy, that one dude. There's no way.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to keep you guys updated. At least we'll know one way or another in October if mediation worked, and then we can move on from there. The wind down money, you're right. It's not coming in our hands for a while.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep all my fingers and toes crossed.
I would love
get this
mediation
done.
We would love to get Paul on the show. Yeah, Mr. Slim, we were planning to go this morning, but life happens. You're right. We could, Mr. FOMO, we'll have to talk about that off the air. That's it. We were planning to go live this morning, but it didn't happen.
At
so
least
you're getting
5%
us
of our content is Mr. Slim talking about giving us a hard time about Litecoin.
He could be our producer at this point, for God's sake.
Right?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay. Let's see what happens in October when we find out. And honestly, what I'm looking for here, what I'm expecting is mediation not to work. And maybe before January, we'll have a court date of knowing when the court goes in session. And then we'll have a better idea of how much and when we're getting back. I would love to be wrong here. And if we are, amazing. But like you said, even if mediation does work, how many months then after? Could it be another 2 months before the checks come? Possibly. And then the wind down, I think people are going to have to put pressure on these guys. I think these guys plan, like you said, to milk it for a long time. They have this excuse about 3 arrows. Well, 3 arrows, what has been done so far? 3 arrows, we're going down a year and a half, and they've collected a few $1 million on NFTs, for God's sakes. I mean, the 3 arrows, you talk about a snail's pace. There will be generations that will grow, that will start kindergarten and get to high school before this 3 arrows thing is solved. That's sad.
It just allows them to put that sort of I keep coming across this idea, but it allows them to put this boogeyman out there, right? And they say, oh, well, we're still going after 3 arrow or 3 AC. We're still going after 3 AC. And that's why we still need this wind down money. We can't distribute that to anybody. We need that to go after 3 AC. And it's this sort of boogeyman that we'll never see again, right? Like nobody's ever going to take that down.
I'm thinking, Mr. FOMO, after we find out what happens in mediation, we're going to have to start broadcasting their numbers again and their emails and start getting people to, because that did help. Even though this is, we're growing, we're trying to get to 2,000. Trust me, they didn't love people contacting and emailing them. And so when we find out what's happening with mediation, at that point, once FTX Alameda is resolved, right, at that point, it's time to end this thing. It's time to end this baby and give everyone exactly what they can get. Forget about these third-party pipe dreams that you have. And those take years, too. It doesn't happen overnight. You want to
It's not like those people are just gonna bend over and give you that cash, right? They're gonna fight back with their lawyers, and that's gonna be a whole drawn-out process. So like I said, it's a complete nightmare scenario that they're painting for you somewhere down the road. Or, hey, we still got to work on this. No, you don't. You're barely working on getting checks out. Why don't you just cut it out and give us back whatever wind down money's there?
I agree. Now, I want to talk about Bitcoin here. And Bitcoin has done what I was hoping so far. Now, remember, it's September 8th. Don't tempt me, Mr. Slim. I might launch a Litecoin YouTube show on the side. And I'll make you my producer. We've held 25. We made a run at 26 and couldn't hold. But, for me, so far, so good. Again, at 25.9 right now, I might be talking really premature. I've seen a lot of calls for 20K, which you know how crypto works. Before we talked about this, once everyone starts yelling for 20K, that's usually when the opposite happens, right? And I was caught up in the wrong direction, calling for 30K, 30 to 34K in August, and we got the opposite. I'm very curious over the next couple of weeks if we can hold. You brought up that theory on their last episode about people coming back before Halloween. And coming back before October 1st, which I think is very possible. I get the feeling that we could be in for a turnaround before October 1st. And I'm not saying we go to 30K before October 1st, before you guys go crazy. But if we can keep holding this 25 number, I would think the end of September, you might see a little bit of movement here. And then early October, you might get rejected. We talked about this. Talk to our viewers about why there might be some rejection at 30K for a few times. It might take a while to get over there.
We really we were coiling up there for a long time. We built a lot of strength there, and the hope was that we would stay above 30, and that would be the support. But it didn't happen. We crashed down to 25. It gave us an opportunity to buy some more cheap satoshis, but that's where we are.
Yeah.
The good news is, or I don't know if this is good news or bad news. I just bought some Bitcoin
Oh,
today,
no.
so. If you haven't grabbed any, the likelihood of the market going down a little bit in the next 12 to 48 hours is probably pretty good.
Now, let me ask you this, Mr. FOMO.
I jinx the market every single time that I buy, so we'll see how it goes.
If we just wick at 40K this year, will you take off your shirt and jump into the pool live on air?
No.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that would get some subscribers, I think.
I doubt it.
Both male and female.
Might get fired from my job.
All right. All right, guys. We had some fun on a Friday afternoon. Hope you enjoyed it. Voyager, again, mediation has started. If you're waiting for the check, you should have received communication that it's coming. We're talking about the people that did not get their crypto that offered for the cash outs. Those are coming. We'll know one way or another on mediation. We'll keep you guys updated. Everything Voyager. We'll let you know when the website is back up and running as well. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We will see you later. Take it easy. Enjoy the NFL.
And if we wick at 40K, we'll both jump in the pool. How about that?